guys, welcome back to my channel. Alright, so the first struggle that I'm facing is basically I have no idea what I'm doing, and sometimes when I reach out to my broker, if it's like 11 p.m. at night, he has no idea, he's probably like sleeping or he just doesn't respond to me, and I'll be freaking out all night and couldn't sleep, and that's my struggle number one. So what I realized to do with that kind of struggle is sometimes it's kind of unavoidable. You just have to learn along the way. But most importantly, there are two tips I can give you guys. One, try to solve all the problem on your own. If there's something about inspection or something about appraisal, if let's say appraisal value comes too low, like you are a buyer agent, how are you going to guide your first time home buyer? Try to see if you can find the answer on YouTube or Google. If really can't solve that, then maybe the second tip is to network or just be really nice with your coworkers. Sometimes, help them schedule showing, show their house, do the open house for them, just so you can build some relationship in case if you need them later on. Sometimes if my broker doesn't answer my question, I will ask a few coworkers and be like, hey, I really need help with this, can you help me? Number two, my struggle was running out of clients, and this one is super obvious, especially when you are a new agent. Most of your sphere are probably renters. You're probably young, so they can't really qualify to get a mortgage or have the ability to afford a home. So you don't have any spare. If your family members, they probably already bought the property, they're not really interested in buying. So how are you going to get leads? If you run out of leads, what can you do? So there are also two tips I can give you guys. One is I would suggest you to save as much as you can, especially before you start as an agent, or even if you had a couple closings, try to save majority of the commission because you're gonna need that to, whether if it's like purchase leads or use it as a marketing tool. So there are different ways you can get clients. The only problem is it takes time. It rarely gets you client right away. I mean, what I figured sometimes, especially those like cheap way to buy leads, like Facebook leads or Zillow leads is expensive, but Facebook leads, the quality of the leads tend not to be that good. With Zillow leads, a lot of time I said on my previous video, 95% of the time are buyer leads. You rarely get like seller leads. There's no listing. So save and maybe try to buy leads, or you can buy a dollar. So what I use is I use Mojo Dollar. I use the neighborhood search feature and to find all the data from my farm, which is like 5 to 10 minutes a radius from where I work, and I'll call the neighborhood. So I spent about 3 to 6 months of just cold calling, and I got my first ever cold call leads within 2 months of cold calling. So it takes a lot of time, but honestly, that is the most efficient and less expensive way that I can think of. Number three, the struggle is my paycheck is not enough. It's not enough to support me. It's not enough to kind of pay my rent and grocery. So that's the third struggle. So that's my third struggle. But then I always reflect on my first year when I did get my first couple paycheck. I didn't really save majority of those paychecks. I didn't even have a tax saving account, which I do right now. What I did instead was I bought a trip to Cancun after 4 closings, and I go out pretty much every other weekend. I think it's extremely important, especially when you first start out a business, just live below your means and not leverage on vacations or things that you don't even need. Try to practice, a simple lifestyle, and that hopefully can get you start with your real estate career. So number 4 is social media. At the beginning, I just figured it wasn't really efficient. It's not a great way to benefit me with my career. And I've been struggling with getting leads, but I also kind of tend to get distracted or waste time on the leads that I've been receiving from social media. Mostly I'm talking about Instagram or just people randomly call my cell phone, and a lot of time they're saying, oh yeah, I want to purchase a property, in Philadelphia, can you show me? And at the first time, I did go out to show the prospective buyer, but then it always turns out that they're not really gonna do anything. They're not even, you know, ready to purchase property. What I did wrong was I never really get them on the phone. I never pre-qualify my leads, and I just kind of get in my car and go meet the buyer. So that usually doesn't work out, but right now what I'm doing is instead of just getting in my car, go meet them, I will list a list of pre-qualification questions for buyers, and then I'll try to schedule a conference call with the buyer, get all the questions answered. If they don't have specific, you know, answer to the question I'm asking them, most likely they're not a legit buyer, and therefore I won't really waste my time working with them. So my last struggle is oh my gosh, I hate being someone else, but in the business, I feel like I have to pretend someone else because everything I say is not really my words. For instance, you know, with listing presentation, I just kind of copy or follow whoever, you know, like I use Kevin Ward's listing presentation on YouTube. I use a lot of objection handler, and I call for sale by owner by saying, hey, I work with a lot of buyers in your area. Is there anything I do to help you? And I just hate those words because it's not really my words, and I'm just simply using a script just so I can get in the door. And what my tips was for this particular struggle, I will say you gotta start using those scripts and then find out which script works the best for you. Sometimes you can come up with your own script, your own objection handler, so that way, along the way, you can kind of build your own confidence. And I'm telling you guys, if you've been doing it for long enough, you will for sure get a lot more comfortable in the future. It's embarrassing enough, my first ever listing presentation, I went and met this old lady, and I thought I did an awesome presentation, and at the end I took out my pen and the paperwork. I was like, hey, you can just sign your name right there. And then she goes, I'm not ready to sell my house yet. And I'm like, why didn't you tell me before? But anyways, so here goes my 5 struggles as a new real estate agent. And if you guys like this kind of tips video, be sure to comment down below. Let me know if you have any other questions, concerns, you want me to make a Q&A. Feel free to leave down in the comment section. Comment fortune cookie if you watched this far, and thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one.